Let's move on to our third and final topic of the day. This one goes along with a column that Jack, you wrote for Sports Pack 12, who Dash Sports TV has a partnership with. Our written content is going up there, and we're having a UCLA column come out every Monday, either written by myself or Jack. This week is the UCLA football wish list for 2020. Jack, I'll let you go first and list off your 3 wishes for this team this year.
All right, thank you so much, Sam. Of course, the first wish has to be going over 500. A 4-3 season would save Chip Kelly's job. He hasn't shown out the first couple of times, 3-9, 4-8 seasons. It's just not going to cut it at UCLA. And UCLA fans are begging for an over 500 season. The last time this team was over 500 was Josh Rosen's first year when they went 8-5. From the Brett Hundley days, they were consistently over 500. It's time to get back to that, even if you're not going to beat a USC, or we're not expecting you to go to the road and win at Oregon, but go 3-3 in conference, and then when that 7th week, when you get that seeded game, get a victory there, or go 4-2 against the Pac-12 South plus Oregon. I mean, realistically, this UCLA team should be able to compete against every single team in the Pac-12 South. Oregon on the road on a Friday, that's a tough matchup. I'll give them that. But you get USC at home, you got Arizona State on the road. That might be a tough one, but Arizona coming in, Utah coming in, Colorado on the road, you've got to be competing in those games. The second one is an improved defense. We've talked about that a lot right now, but even getting to a mediocre status goes a long way in improving everything. You're giving DTR better spots to start the field from if you get a few more turnovers in a game. You get a lot of pressure off of his back. You shouldn't be relying on your offense every single time out, because offense sometimes, they're a little inconsistent. Defense can always show up every single week the same way. And the final one is in that 7th game, that seeded matchup that has not been revealed yet, and the Pac-12 hasn't announced how they're doing it exactly. We need to face Stanford. After breaking that curse, breaking that streak of just loss after loss after loss against Stanford, we finally broke it last year, and we should have the chance to do it again. I know people are going to say, oh, what about the Cal game that's been going on longer? It's another UC school. It's the big brother that we've always kind of fell down to. If USC is the cousin town, Cal is the big brother. But we should get the chance to show Stanford that the curse is over and it's our turn to be the ones on a winning streak. What about you, Sam? What are your 3 wishes for UCLA this year?
I think your 3 are pretty solid. They're kind of within the realm of possibility, but I guess we'll see. Mine, it kind of goes along with your second one. I want to see multiple performances from this defense that show there's some growth, like dominant defensive games. I understand that with a shortened season and a shortened preseason, the defense might not be able to take a leap and go from the bottom of the barrel to the top of the Pac-12 in terms of defensive stats. But you saw what they did against Stanford last year. That was really impressive. That was one really good defensive game, and that's it. I want to see 2 games where the defense wins them the game. The offense can win them games, like you said, whenever. That Washington State game, they made their best effort against USC. They almost had that just because the offense was so good. But that defensive performance against Stanford from last year, I want to see that twice, maybe 3 times this year, to show that there is at least some potential and a high ceiling for this defense moving forward with like this coaching staff. So maybe it means Azenara is gone, but I want to see Brian Norwood's defense show a little potential, so maybe he can take over as defensive coordinator moving forward. My second is about Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I want to see fewer than 1 turnover per game, which in a 7-game season, 6 turnovers across the whole season, that sounds pretty solid just because the season's short. But I mean, that's been a problem for him in the past, and it's cost him a lot of confidence from the fan base and maybe from the coaching staff in terms of play calls. But his ceiling is high. We know he has the talent, and if he can just finish off those drives and really put his team in the best position to win all the time, then I think that really sets up UCLA for a successful season. And third of all, I want to see a bowl. It doesn't even have to be a bowl win. Everyone's technically eligible for a bowl this year, so who knows? Maybe UCLA can go 1-6 and still make a bowl. I don't care. I just want there to be a postseason game played by UCLA football. Jack, you and I are both seniors at UCLA. We've been looking forward to this season for football and men's basketball for kind of capping things off. And it'd be nice, even if they don't really deserve it, for UCLA to go to a bowl and kind of put themselves out there on a national stage and hopefully show that they aren't the bottom of the barrel in the Pac-12 anymore, and that they are legit on a national stage. And maybe that helps with recruiting. Maybe it helps with marketing or this next apparel deal. But either way, I'd like to see them play in a bowl just for my own personal sake.
I think I'll add to that, Sam. I don't want them just playing a bowl, but unless it's the Rose Bowl, there's one bowl game that I have in mind that I really, really want them to play. And you and I went there back in winter to view the stadium. I want them to play in the first LA Bowl in SoFi Stadium. As a Chargers fan, as someone that loves living in LA, I would love nothing more than UCLA to get the chance to open up that stadium for the college football to really not just a bowl game, Sam. We want a bowl win in LA. Show the city that it is our city. Even if USC is across town, that is our city, and we should win a bowl game in our town.